How to make deviled eggs. If you're looking for a tasty appetizer recipe which only uses inexpensive ingredients and is very easy to make, then you should definitely learn how to make deviled eggs. Deviled eggs are named this because they have a slight tanginess and kick, which makes them less tame than simple hard-cooked eggs. This classic dish appeals to both adults and kids, and you can easily tweak the recipe to make it truly your own. Making deviled eggs is so foolproof that even a child could do it. However, if you want to create deviled eggs that are as aesthetically pleasing as they are delicious, then you need to start by knowing how to pick eggs and then cook them properly. This recipe will teach you how to buy good eggs for making this recipe and give you some tips for presentation as well. Here are the steps. The best eggs for making into deviled ones are those that are about 1 week to 2 weeks old. Very fresh eggs are not ideal because they tend to be harder to peel when hard cooked. This is important because you want to come up with eggs that have very smooth whites. If you have time, you can simply buy fresh eggs and keep them in the fridge for a week or so. If you don't, pick up those that are nearing the supermarket expiration date. Step 1. For about 8 hours before cooking your eggs, store them on their sides rather than their ends to center the yolks. About a half an hour before you cook the eggs, take them out of the fridge to get them down to room temperature. This will make them less likely to crack during cooking. 2. Gently place the eggs into a cooking pot that is big enough to hold them without being too crowded. A word to the wise: cook a few eggs more than you think you will need just in case 1 or 2 crack, peel badly, or happen to have a broken yolk. Fill the pot with enough water to cover the eggs and add 1 tablespoon of salt. This makes the eggs cook a bit quicker. 3. Put the pot on the stove and turn enough heat on to bring the water to a boil. This takes about 6 to 7 minutes depending on the amount of water and the number of eggs you have. As soon as the water produces big rolling bubbles and steam, turn off the heat. Overcooking the eggs will turn them rubbery. Also, you don't want the eggs to bounce off of each other as the water boils, because this can make them crack. Leave the eggs in the hot water for about 30 minutes to complete cooking. 4. After a half an hour, scoop the eggs out and drop them, carefully, into a bowl of ice water to cool them off. Leave them there for about 20 minutes to allow the egg whites to recede a bit from the shells. This will make the peeling a lot easier so you don't end up with pockmarked eggs. 5. Peel the eggs by tapping them carefully, then rolling them on a clean table surface. This will break the shells so you can shuck them off more easily. Afterwards, slice each egg in half and take out the egg yolk using a small spoon. Set the egg whites aside while you make the filling. 6. To make the classic deviled egg filling, you will need the following ingredients and quantities for every 6 eggs. 1 cup of salad dressing or mayonnaise. You can substitute with light mayo if you're cutting calories. 1 teaspoon of finely chopped chives. 1 teaspoon of mustard. It can be plain or a gourmet variety like honey or Dijon. And some salt and pepper. You can also add a bit of chili powder to make it a bit spicy. But it's entirely up to you. There are some versions of deviled eggs which include extra ingredients like cheese, bacon bits, or even caviar. But choosing to make them depends on whether you want to be creative or prefer to stick to the classic recipe. 7. In a bowl, mash all the egg yolks together using a fork until the mixture is smooth. Start adding the ingredients a little at a time until everything is well blended and you have a filling that has a very creamy consistency. You can make it a bit softer by adding a little more mayo, but note that you don't want to overdo it. A filling that is too runny will look like mush and will end up spilling over the egg white when picked up. If you intend to use decorative piping tips later for a more elegant dish, make the filling a bit firmer so that it can hold its shape. 8. Once you have mixed the filling to your satisfaction, it's time to put it on the egg whites. A mess-free way to do this is to scrape it into a Ziploc bag and cut off 1 bottom corner so that you can neatly pipe it into the egg whites. You can also use decorative tips to make yummy-looking peaks and swirls. Garnish with some sliced olives, chopped chives, or a light sprinkle of cayenne or paprika for some color. Deviled eggs are meant to be served slightly cold, so after filling in all the whites, cover them with plastic wrap and pop them back into the fridge until they are ready to serve. If you do not have a special rigid dish for serving, you can simply lay them on a bed of washed parsley to keep them from sliding or tipping every which way. Eggs are among the healthiest ingredients that you can use in the kitchen. Once you have mastered how to make deviled eggs the classic way, up the ante by experimenting with various versions of this yummy protein-rich dish that you and your family are bound to enjoy.